From the heartland of America, focused on God, family, and country, the mouthpiece of the Midwest. This is Dale Carter's America.
Back in our podcast studios in Raytown, Missouri. I am Dale Carter. He is Kurt Wheeler. And boy, do we have a lot to cover today. But before we get to any of it, we want to thank Bob Watson for being part of our podcast, a big believer in what we're doing here. You should be a believer in him. You should be a believer in the brand, State Farm. It's the best insurance out there, and he's got a 51-year track record of making sure that his clients are taken care of, especially when you need to use the insurance. That's when you know what you have. So bundle your home and car insurance and save. Get a rate quote today from Bob Watson, State Farm. He's at 7th and Main in Blue Springs, but that's just where his office is. He's licensed in both Missouri and Kansas. He takes care of a lot of people on the Kansas side. 816-229-7878. Auto, Home, Life. Bob Watson, Blue Springs State Farm agent. It is a crazy world that we're living in. There's a lot going on, which we're going to get into and dig pretty deep on some of it. We do want to, at the top of the broadcast, tell you how you can spread the word on this. I think there are people, I was speaking yesterday to the Overland Park Rotary Club. Great group of folks there. And when I started talking about the podcast, I'm like, how many of you actually listen or watch podcasts? And about half the room raised their hands. So it's really catching on. And I saw
ours or just in general?
Just in general.
Oh yeah.
No, but I was promoting our podcast, so they would get on board with it. And I saw something in Inside Radio today that podcasts are really catching on, that audio is primary, video is secondary, but video is catching on. And we do it both ways here on this podcast. Tell them how they can get it.
That's right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube or Rumble for the video podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, drop a thumbs up or a like, and that all helps new people reach us, so we appreciate it. You can also share the link. And then for the audio-only version, you can find that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And then also make sure to follow us on Facebook as well and join in the conversation. Hop in the comments, leave us your hate mail. In the comments.
Love that. Kurt loves that. It's interesting to me, Kurt, that the words mad and sad rhyme with each other, because I think I'm equal parts today. I think I'm sad and I'm mad. Just the news that we've had lately. A cop run down by a thug in KCK. And you know what I'm seeing online, and I can't verify this, so if I got called to testify, I couldn't verify it. But what I'm hearing is that the thug who ran down the cop in KCK was friends with the thug who shot Elijah Ming. So maybe now they can be on death row together, where they belong. Because they belonged in prison, but somebody let them out of prison. And they did what thugs do. And now we're burying two cops. Children's Mercy Park is where they're going to do the funeral next Wednesday. And we just did that. So just very sad. And then you compound that with what happened yesterday in Minneapolis at a Catholic church during a school mass. I went to Catholic school, and I remember, back when I started in Catholic school, first period was mass every day, 5 days a week. And by the time I graduated from grade school, I think they had limited it to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Well, this was the Wednesday morning mass at that school, and we're going to get into all that. We'll talk about the shooter and the reactions that are predictable after something like this. Just predictable. My God, come up with a different narrative. We'll get into all that. Special guest Herb Butzbach from CLAYCOMO Shooters is going to be here to talk about your rights and your obligations to protect your family. All right? And it's going to dovetail nicely with what happened, because while the liberals are out there saying, we got to get rid of the guns, we'll dig into exactly what's going on there and why your Second Amendment rights are more important than they have ever been. My decision's in for Jackson County. We'll talk about that. We'll also do a lightning round because there was a lot of political news, and we're just going to shotgun through it because there's a lot of fun stuff, and we got some videos to back all that up. So we'll wrap up today on the lighter side, something that we really need today for sure. By the way, did you know Travis and Taylor are getting married?
What?
I know. It's shocking. I can't believe that they buried this story the way that they have.
Yeah. That was the most important thing to a lot of people. That tells you a lot, doesn't it?
It does. And it was the running joke throughout my show yesterday on KFKF at the luncheon where I was speaking, and it's still going on today. In fact, there was a police department in Lansing, Michigan, that the dispatcher left her mic on. She was talking about Taylor getting married, and another cop comes on and says, "By the way, dispatcher, do you know you've got an open mic?"
Did you see the clip of the CBS reporter, the White House correspondent?
I heard about that. Yeah.
Should I pull that up? It's pretty good.
If you want, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick. Just because it shows like the level of obsession that these people have. Here it is.
Taylor Swift is engaged. Taylor Swift is engaged. Taylor Swift is engaged. This, come back to me. She just posted it. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. This is so exciting. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's on her Instagram. It's on her Instagram. It's on her Instagram. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I feel like Paul Revere right now. Like,
well, you look like an idiot. I'm sorry.
Can we just I feel like Paul Revere right now. That's what she just said.
Yeah, that was a bigger deal, I think, than this. I mean,
this is a very exciting moment for me in my professional career because I get to announce that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged. As you're talking to Joe Lang, our lovely producer Gabby Ake texted me and said, Taylor Swift's engaged, and you can see it right there on her social media. She put it up in that post that they got engaged with the caption, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married."
She was about to report on probably like the Ukraine-Russia war or something.
I know.
She's the White House correspondent.
You have a front row seat to what's going on in the world, and this is it?
She was about to come on and with this exact tone just be like, and today in Russia, more drone bombings happened where soldiers were killed remotely with bomb control, dropping remote control bombs.
And then, oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, all right. Crazy. Well, we needed levity. We'll have levity at the end of the podcast, and we had a little levity right there as well. It's not it's not a. All right, screw it. It's not a fun moment. I'm trying to be a little fancy with the language. Oh my God, did you know Taylor's getting engaged? It's not fun when your car breaks down. And we are keeping them longer, which is why you need my friend Tim Porter at Christian Brothers Automotive in Independence on speed dial. So go ahead and take this number down because you are going to need them as you're keeping your car longer. First of all, you should get the oil changed on a regular basis. There are scheduled maintenance things that can extend the life of your car. And nobody will take better care of your car than Christian Brothers Automotive in Independence on 40 Highway. They're at 19600 East US 40 Highway at 816-839-9266. They deal with all the major brands of vehicles, even some that I've never heard of. They do the inspections. They've got a complimentary courtesy shuttle to pick you up and drop off your vehicle. What more could you want? They're going to be honest with you through every step of the process. You're keeping your vehicles longer. Keep them maintained. Tim Porter and the great team there at Christian Brothers Automotive in Independence can get that done for you. Make an appointment to have your car looked at. He includes hybrid and electric vehicles too. They take care of it. If it's got four wheels, they're going to be able to take care of it. 816-839-9266. Michael Schroer, another big sponsor of the podcast. Just a fantastic guy. All these people who've gotten involved here, they're great Americans, and they love what we're doing here.
Tremendous people.
And Michael's going to find you your next house. We see that a lot. I'm Facebook friends with him, and I see sold a lot from Michael Schroer. So this market is still moving, even though, too slow at the Fed hasn't lowered rates yet. Houses are being sold, and Michael Schroer is a guy getting that done. He is with Remax Elite in Lee's Summit, and he will sell the home you have, and he'll find you the right home for your next home. Starter home, more bedrooms. I mean, maybe you're Thomas Rhett. I mean, they're about to have their fifth child. I mean, you're on track for that.
We'll see, God willing.
He's got 5 under 10. I don't think you want 5 under 10.
That'd be great.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be loud here in the podcast studio for sure. Whatever stage of life you're in, he's got the house for you. 816-373-8400. That's the office, and they can always find him. Or you can get on his cell phone at 816-520-9342. Just remember the name, Michael Schroer, Schroer. He's going to find you your next home. So how you see what happened, and we could separate these things with what's going on in KCK with cops and what happened up in Minnesota. It probably depends on your party affiliation, because you could. It doesn't even take an egg timer timing for Democrats to run to microphones whenever anything like this happens, and they just lament the gun. Mm-hmm. It's always the gun. I got into it with my good friend Bill Fickle out in Blue Springs yesterday on Facebook, because I posted something from the morning show yesterday where my soul was crushed by this cop who was killed intentionally, by the way, trying to put out stop sticks. Do you know the story?
Not really, no.
Okay. They were called to a shots fired call, which is like, every
other
night.
day.
Oh,
Yeah.
every night. So they get there, they pull this guy over, and the cop sees a gun in the front seat, and he wants to pull him out of the car and find out what's going on there. Well, the guy takes off. And so a chase ensues. And the officer who was killed gets in front of it and is putting down stop sticks, and this guy sees that, and so he runs over the cop intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to death row.
Crazy.
So I put that up and everything I was saying about that. And I said, and then I find out what happened in Minneapolis at a Catholic church. And I'm just really sad today. And, Fickle goes, well, they used a gun. He took a gun up in Minneapolis. I'm like, yeah, you're talking about a tool, right? Not only the person who did it, but the gun itself. It's a tool. People who are going to do bad things are going to do bad things. And then you get to the inconvenient fact here that we can talk about. This person's obviously mentally disturbed. Have you dug into any of this at all?
Yeah, unfortunately, very quickly, this one was kind of different than a lot of the other ones, because with a lot of the other shootings, we don't know the person's name, or we don't have a motive or a manifesto for like weeks, and people are sometimes, with the Nashville school shooting, it took a really long time, and people were starting to speculate that there was some cover up there or whatever. Well, everything came out right away with this one. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was videos, there was a manifesto that was written in some kind of cryptic thing or whatever and had to be translated. But I watched some of the videos because they were posted all over X yesterday, and I would not recommend it. I mean, it's
disturbing.
It's demonic, I think,
mm-hmm.
literally. Just the way that he is mumbling under his breath, that he wants to kill, he wants to, I'm not even going to recreate it.
Yeah.
Just for
a
that
trans individual too.
Yeah.
Robert to Robin, was that what it was? Or Robin to Robert?
Yeah, I think so.
It's one of the others.
And the parents signed off on the name change and all that. And, there's something there. There's also, with a lot of these shooters, there's a common theme of drugs, like SSRIs, antidepressants and things like that. But I think you made the point last year sometime, or whenever it was, the gun thing is like, it's like a secondary narrative for them almost, because if it's a white guy, then they go to that first.
Right.
If they can say that it's a Trump supporter or a white supremacist, quote unquote, or whatever, or if it's anti-Semitic or something like that, then that's their first line of attack.
So they got like a play sheet.
Not, then they go down to the next thing, which is gun control.
They got a play sheet. That's exactly what they go off of, and so that's where they're going off of that. But as I told Fickle, it's like we had a cop killed in KCK with a car, and I said, using your logic, we should ban cars. Right. And then I just go down a rabbit hole with Bill Fickle. I love the guy to death, but he is one of these people who always has to have the last word. Mm-hmm. You say this, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that. And finally I said, we're just going around in circles here. But, Timothy McVeigh. You
got to just start replying, nuh-uh.
Timothy McVeigh did not need a gun to take down the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. That was with fertilizer. did a fertilizer bomb. The terrorists who killed 2,000 people on 9/11, they needed box cutters. We're going to get rid of box cutters, used airplanes. They found ways to firm that up a little bit. But my point is, you're talking about guns here. And they always run to the microphone. I would say we need to start looking at mentally disturbed people and get in front of that before they get into grandpa's rifle or whatever. Because unlike what Amy Klobuchar said yesterday, who ran to a microphone, who doesn't know her ass from a hole in the ground, she's like, it's an automatic weapon, right? It was a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol is what I heard this person had.
There was a bunch of guns and other things, pepper spray, things like that, and they all had stuff written on them. A lot of these people, it's a fame thing. It's a note. They know that they're going to become famous. They know that their face, and in this case, the video that they post is going to be all over the internet. So, they put a bunch of stuff on the guns, and it's all cryptic and everything. So
yeah,
it's a whole attention-seeking.
Play
operation.
Amy's video here because she just doesn't know what the hell she's talking about.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
This is right after it happened.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the other thing too is everyone has to just have their take immediately. You can't just wait and see what's going on. The bodies are still warm. I hate to put it so graphically, but okay, here's Miss Amy.
It, of course, makes me think about guns and all the work we've done to ban these automatic rifles and to do something when it comes to the background checks and everything, and we keep getting thwarted. We were able to pass a limited measure on a bipartisan basis, but not enough to stop something like this. And it just makes you think about that as well without knowing the details about how he got that gun, if the gun was legal, what kind of gun it was. But it was clearly one of these automatic rifles to be able to shoot that many kids so fast.
Automatic.
Yeah.
Doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. She needs to come see Herb at CLAYCOMO Shooters because Herb could educate her. He could educate a lot of these Democrats on this.
And she also gives away the whole thing right there towards the end. She says, well, we don't even know what kind of gun it was. Like she said, we've done all this work to try and ban automatic weapons. Wrong, not an automatic weapon.
So yesterday, Fickle, he's like saying, I know you're shilling for your people there, and you don't want to have a conversation about guns. You'd rather talk about Cracker Barrel and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, let's have a conversation about guns. Okay. And he's throwing Trump out there and all that. And I said, stop talking about all that bullshit. Okay. So you are President Fickle. What are you going to do? I want to hear what you're going to do to solve this. There are 300 million guns in this country. You cannot snap your finger and make them all go away if you wanted to. If it didn't violate the Constitution, you can't do it. So, Bill Fickle, what is your plan? And he says, well, I'd make it a hell of a lot harder to get a gun. Oh, boy. Isn't that great? That's a plan.
Bill's really getting put on blast today on the podcast.
I love you, Bill, but you always get the last word in our exchanges. I've invited you to come on the podcast, which you won't do because you can't do that. But you do go on Facebook and go, "Did." And then I'm stupid. My wife tells me, stop replying. And so finally, when I'm done, I just say, I know you're going to get the last word. I just think we're going in circles here. But I'm willing to talk about guns. I really am willing to talk about guns. But, when you say something like that, I'm going to make it harder for them to get guns. This reminds me, my whole life view on this was formed years and years ago. The NRA put out, and I think we've talked about this, but we're getting new viewers and listeners because of some other political things that are going on. But years ago, I saw this video or this commercial that was put out by the NRA. And it's put out by the NRA, but it did clarify my worldview on this. And it showed a politician, probably a Democrat, going out in front of the microphones, patting themselves on the back. We've made it harder to get guns, blah, 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 blah. And then it pans to, obviously, a criminal sitting in a seedy apartment, and it pans out to where he's watching this on television, and he's laughing his ass off. Mm-hmm. Criminals love this because criminals do not follow the law. They are criminals.
Yeah. I mean, they're already getting, you see all the time in these like drill rap music videos and social media stuff. they have these, they call the switch, but they have the Glock 9mm handguns with the switch on it. And it's a switch on the back that makes it full auto. Totally illegal already.
Let's pass a law and make that illegal.
It is legal, Dale. It's already illegal.
I'm telling, pass another law.
Pass a law that makes it super duper illegal.
Yeah, you'll be on double secret probation if you use one.
And that's the thing too. That one's interesting because not only is it already illegal, but it's not like something you can just go buy and then, okay, you're a criminal, I go buy it, and then I sell it to you. Now it's a crime. No, it's like a thing that you have to install on the gun. You have to like drill into the gun and modify it.
Yeah.
It requires some real work.
It gets back to what I've said all along. What law can you pass to keep people who are bent on doing violence, no matter what it takes? Well, the guy shot a gun outside the church. Well, Timothy McVeigh parked a truck in front of the Murrah Federal Building.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll go back to this too, because I've brought it up before, but we don't talk about, obviously we talk about these horrific situations because it's horrific and everyone talks about it, but we don't talk about all the times that these situations have been avoided by somebody with a gun.
Right.
Or we do talk about it and it's in the news for a day or two and then it kind of goes away. I think it was maybe more, but like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, there was that guy in a church. Somebody came in with a shotgun, and the dude who was like a certified range instructor or whatever from like 60 yards away on the other side of the church, one shot at the dude in the head with a pistol, and he didn't kill anybody. And that was in a church. And so how many people would have died there? You don't even know. There's no way to know. It's pure speculation, but somebody was there to defend and do something about it. And he saved countless lives, so
good guy with a gun. We talk about it a lot.
100%.
Yeah. And then there's the narrative, because to your point earlier, there was another murder yesterday in Kansas City. I don't know where we're at on murders in Kansas City. We had the deal that went down near the Power and Light District too, which we're going to get to here in a moment. But the narrative only matters if it's a certain race on another race. And we talk about this a lot. In Kansas City, in the urban core, there is black-on-black crime nearly every day. There is at least a murder every week. It's just disgraceful what's being allowed to happen.
135 homicides so far in 2025.
And, there's only been one that I'm aware of since Donald Trump has had the National Guard in Washington, D.C., yet everybody's got their hair on fire about that. And he's cleaning it up. You can finally go out at night and see the monuments all lit up without worrying about having a bullet through you because of what Donald Trump has done with the National Guard. And as we do this show, again, only one murder has happened in a city that was averaging 4 a week. A smaller city than Kansas City, it was averaging 4 a week. And Trump now has another solution.
Anybody murders something in the Capitol, capital punishment, capital punishment. If somebody kills somebody in the Capitol, Washington, D.C., we're going to be seeking the death penalty. And that's a very strong preventative. And everybody that's heard it agrees with it. I don't know if we're ready for it in this country, but where you have it, it is, we have no choice. So in D.C. and Washington, states are going to have to make their own decision. But if somebody kills somebody, like you could have been killed, very lucky you didn't get killed, it's the death penalty.
So there you go. And he's got Jeanine Pirro there in Washington, D.C. now, and she is tough on crime. We got to get tough on crime. I would refer back to my solution for gun crimes in America, particularly the black-on-black crime that happens under the radar that nobody talks about, because Al Sharpton is lying in wait for that, unicorn story where an old white guy, kills or wounds a young black guy. When that happens, all hell breaks loose. But every day the black-on-black crime goes completely unreported. Well, it goes reported, and then it gets filed away somewhere, and nobody cares. There's no parade. There's no big protest going on there for that. It just gets filed away. My Catholic faith comes through in that, all things being equal, I don't believe in the death penalty. but all things are not equal, right? So here's my solution. We've talked about it many times. If you commit a crime with a gun, you go away for a very long time. I don't know what the number is, but we set one, and we don't let them negotiate down and put them back out on the street the next day with cashless bail because, you know, they may have only had one parent in the house, and poor little Johnny, he's so disadvantaged, and I'm sure he didn't mean to do it. You commit a crime with a gun, and this would go down to juveniles too, because I think that's an adult crime. When you've picked up a gun and you've gone in to rob somebody, you have committed a crime with a gun. You need to go away. You murder somebody like Donald Trump just said, you murder somebody. There's no mitigating factors. It's not self-defense, no mitigating factors. You basically just pulled a gun out and you killed somebody in cold blood. You go away for the rest of your life. No chance to ever get out because you have you've made it abundantly clear that you don't belong in polite society. And when you make it that clear, we need to find a place to put you so that you can't hurt anybody else. You can't kill anybody else. Now, Donald Trump says they're going to seek the death penalty. Death penalty for the two cop killers that we're talking about, who apparently know each other. Maybe they'll get to room next to each other on death row. When we can't say with certainty that you never get out of the prison, you never get to hurt anybody else again, then I support the death penalty. Yeah, that's where I am on it.
And you also make a point there with the two cop killers knowing each other.
Allegedly.
Let's just assume that that's true, allegedly, but it's a pretty small group of people that are doing all these crimes. And I think we talked about this at some point, and I don't have it in front of me, but there was a report, I think last year in New York, that it was something like 400 or 700 individuals that had committed like 70% of all of the violent crime in New York City, which is a city of what? 9 million people. Yeah. So it's really not that daunting when you put it that way. We just need all of those people off the street in jail. And then the problem will maybe not be solved because you're always going to have new criminals, but it'll at least get a lot better.
We've gone completely off the rails. We've introduced terms like acceptable loss. There are stores out in California where if it's under $1,000, it's fine. Yeah. Okay, well, if I hit 15 stores, I've got quite the haul, and I can have a sale right out of my garage. It's just, we've gotten crazy, and it's time for sanity to come back into this country. Maybe MSNBC is trying to get back in the game. They're asking real questions about this stuff. I want to start with a couple of clips here. John Kasich, former Republican member of Congress and former governor of Ohio. Some have called him a rhino. I kind of liked him when he was running. I don't know what this says about me, but I liked Mitt Romney, especially if the choice was Mitt Romney or Barack Obama for a second term. I kind of like John Kasich. I like guys who want to sit down and have a conversation with you and solve a problem. And I think Kasich is that kind of a guy, but he's been called a rhino. On MSNBC, he went after Pritzker, the governor of Illinois.
Governor, look, you understand very clearly what it means when the National Guard comes into your state, what it means when it comes in to a community. Donald Trump essentially said today that, not only was he not happy that he wasn't being thanked for this, he suggested that there are people who want a dictator. He says, I'm not a dictator. I'm being accused of being a dictator. But some people may want someone to come in and take control. So I wonder how you see this and what the options are for governors in this case.
Well, I have to tell you, I have such a different take than what we've just heard. They talk about a manufactured crisis. Have you been in Chicago? Have you been in Baltimore? Look, my daughter went to school in Chicago. I remember the day she graduated, there were shootings and killings right outside of her building. And in Baltimore, I have friends that go down to Johns Hopkins, get treated for medical conditions. They are nervous about ever going there. There are parts of Baltimore that he tells me he wouldn't go into. And this is not some right-wing person. This is somebody who wants to be able to go into some of our great cities and be able to be safe. Now, I do think it's important that if you're going to do this, you've got to define the mission. You've got to talk about your authority. And I think one of the earlier guest was saying that, maybe there's narrow ways to do it. I agree with that. But that just then says that there are ways to do it. And if I had had a crisis in Cleveland, we thought we were going to have riots, or in Columbus or whatever, I would never have put, the fact that, well, I'm governor, so I would want to work with other people who wanted to help me. And look, what's been happening in Chicago has been terrible. The crime rate is high. The gang problem is real. I tried to get Arnie Duncan, the former education secretary under Obama, to run for mayor. He's out there trying to work to get, to deal with the gang problem. He didn't want to do it. But I think Chicago is a jewel of America. We just cannot let lawlessness and fear dominate these cities. So, yeah, I think we need to know what the mission is. I think we need to know what the authority is. I think we need to know what the length is. But the idea that these cities are somehow fine, I think you're
I don't
just
think
you're
anybody.
whistling.
Listen.
All right, you can cut that off. Arnie Duncan made you laugh.
Is that the chick? Where was it? Her face right here is. I'm assuming that's a woman.
I assume that's
former education secretary.
She's seething.
Yeah, well, she can seethe all she wants because he's right. I mean, we've got to define that we have a problem, and we clearly have a problem. But what Donald Trump has given us is the opportunity, as people on the right, that whatever he says, they've got to be against automatically, right? He says that we've got a crime problem in the cities. And they're like, well, you're just coming to the blue cities. I'm sorry. They're the biggest cities, and they're all run by Democrats, and there's a problem. So now the other side is, well, we're for crime. We're for illegal immigration.
Well, it's also like, if the biggest crime cities are blue cities, isn't that a bad look for you?
It should be, but they don't look at it that way. And the mayor of Chicago is probably one of the least popular politicians in this country. I think he's got about a 13% approval rating in Chicago, and that may be generous. He was on with Morning Joe. Now, Joe Scarborough was a Republican member of Congress back in the day, wasn't he? I think he was.
Yeah.
And of course, he's on MSNBC, and I know people have called him Morning Joke and all that because he is so liberal. But he goes after the mayor of Chicago to get a straight answer on one question. But there's some nuance in here that we'll talk about afterwards. Play the clip.
I think this is the clip. You put the same link twice, so
I did.
Yes.
Would you also like to get federal funding to help put 5,000 more cops on the street in Chicago? Would that help drive down crime?
Well, look, policing by itself is not the full strategy.
No, I understand that. You've talked about the other things you want, and I said those are good and important programs, but I'm asking also, would 5,000 more police officers on the street in Chicago be helpful to go along with all of those social programs that a lot of cities are engaging in and having success with?
Well, look, here's the best way I can put it, Joe, is that in the 90s when I was in high school, we had 3,000 more police officers and we had 900 people being murdered every single year in Chicago. It's just not policing alone. Of course, we want more detectives.
I know it's not policing alone, but I know it's not policing alone. You've told me everything else you want. I'm curious, and this does come down to an ideological difference between people. Do you believe that the streets of Chicago would be safer if there were more uniformed police officers on the streets of Chicago?
Yeah. And he never got an answer to the question. But he says you've got all these social programs, and those are good. Those are good. Those are working. Yeah. So if you're leading a city, if you're leading a county, if you're leading, a government, what is your primary job?
To keep the people safe.
Keep the people safe.
Yeah.
It's not all these social programs.
Well, I would say the first thing would be to protect the rights of the citizens, and then the second would be to ensure their safety.
Keep them from dying, right? On your city streets. And I just heard Mayor Quentin Lucas on with Pete Mundo on KCMO, and he's talking about, we'll show you the video. Brad Lemon from the Kansas City FOP, he put this video up. He's been a guest on the podcast. He put this video up. I cannot swear this is from 13th and Grand, the parking garage and all that in the Power and Light District. I tried to get a hold of Brad to confirm that, but this could be any city, anywhere on a weekend, late at night, including Kansas City, Missouri.
Who shot?
mean, that looks like Kansas City.
It's tough to tell.
It is, but there were a lot of shots that were fired. There were people killed. You hear the sirens in the background. Anyway, the mayor's on with Pete Mundo, and Pete's like, why don't you have cops there? Bars are letting out. It's 2, 3 in the morning. I mean, you have to anticipate where the problems are going to be. I can tell you Westport is another area at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning where you ought to have additional units roving and all that. And the mayor said, is it my job? Why isn't it his job to put up like a $50,000 gate and protect his own area, put up lighting and all that? And Pete said something that I thought was just a lightning bolt of truth. What are we paying taxes for?
Right.
We pay taxes so you can keep us safe. And I'm going to say that is the primary job of government. You got to keep us safe. And then you provide infrastructure. It's the reason the grocery store failed, because they went in and they said, well, we got a food desert here. Nobody will open a grocery store. Okay, well, we'll put millions of dollars of city money into your grocery store and everything's going to be great. Turns out bureaucrats don't know how to run a grocery store, where the first issue is make the area safe. If you make the area safe, then people who do run grocery stores will come in and put one there. Yeah. It just makes me tear my hair out.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
And I don't have a lot of hair left. I mean, especially when I get a haircut, I got like a little bald spot here. Hey, our next guest is also one of our sponsors, Herb Butzbach at CLAYCOMO Shooters. And I think this piece fits nicely right here because, again, we say on this show, you have a Second Amendment responsibility to protect your family. You can't wait for the cops to get there. You wait for the cops to get there, your family may be dead. So get the right gun, get the training, and the guy to tell you all about it is our next guest, Herb Butzbach. Special guest Herb here from CLAYCOMO Shooters. Herb, we're glad to have you guys back on the podcast with us. We really are.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So you are helping folks because we talk a lot about the Second Amendment here and how, as a head of a household, for instance, you are really responsible for protecting your family. And you train a lot of law enforcement. You've got a law enforcement background too, right?
Yes, sir. Over 31 years.
Yeah. So if something bad is happening at my house and I don't deal with it, what are the chances the cops are going to get there in time to save me?
0.
Yeah. So
I mean, if you look at Kansas City, their average response time is 7.5 minutes average. A lot of stuff can happen in 7 minutes.
And I was thinking about you when we had that story in Minnesota. Maybe you saw that where the deranged guy went to different politicians' houses. He was wearing that creepy looking mask, and he just started firing. What do you do in a situation like that?
Well, it all depends if he's inside your house, outside your house. Outside the house, obviously, you're not going to do anything except call the police. Hopefully they get there, but make sure everything's locked up and do the best you can. Now, we do teach home invasion training where we actually go to people's houses and do scenarios and set them up with plans and code words and a pod, which is a point of dominance. Every house has a point of dominance, and we train that to get to that point of dominance where you have the best actual place for self-defense.
That's why we want you to go to CLAYCOMO Shooters. They're not one of those big box stores. They're a neighborhood business that's out there looking out for the community, looking out for you so that you can protect yourself. Of course, they're on 69 Highway in CLAYCOMO, right there between I-35 and I-435. I'm going to give out the number here, Herb, 816-452-4867. So if one of our podcast viewers or listeners is listening to this and they've been thinking about this for a while, they know the dangerous world that we live in, and they want to come see you guys, what is step one when they walk through the door?
Step one is just come in, introduce themselves. We will take it from there. If they don't have a gun, our claim to fame is we would rather you leave with no gun than the wrong gun. It's all about responsibility, safety, and training. 100%. We don't sell a gun just to sell you a gun.
Yeah. And part of that training is the fact that you've got an indoor shooting range as well, so they can try it out, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And every person that works there is a certified firearms instructor. Most of them are prior law enforcement and military.
And you're working with law enforcement in different communities too, right?
Quite a few. Yeah, we train them also.
How heartbreaking, was the Elijah Ming situation showing up? And you were in law enforcement. My stepdad was a police officer for 25 years. And he told me that those domestic situations where somebody's throwing somebody out of an apartment or they're fighting, those are the most dangerous, most dicey things. And yet, what we see in the defund the police thing, which hopefully has run its course, and now we see how idiotic that was.
Absolutely.
So what we see in that is they wanted to send unarmed social workers into situations like that. What a disaster that would have been.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's just, that does not end well in any scenario.
And obviously
domestics. I worked a ton of domestic violences, and it's chances are, I was a deputy with the sheriff's department before I went federal, but it's one-on-one, man. You're there with two people. Your job is to separate them. Hard to do with just one person.
Yeah. Well, my stepdad, he had a partner, and he said, he would go into a situation where the man was beating on the woman, and they would get him off of her, and then she would start beating on them. Sometimes you don't know what the math is going to be in that situation.
I've got a real quick story, same kind of thing. I went in there, and a guy had smashed his wife's face through a glass coffee table. I arrested him. I was by myself, got him handcuffed, everything, and she hit me in the back of the head with a toaster.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I got stitches from that. Yep, that was a good one.
Yeah. Thankless job sometimes being in law enforcement. Yep. Yeah. When you train these law enforcement officers, and, we had a first responder in April, an EMS guy. Maybe you saw that. They picked up a woman along the side of the road who was bleeding, and she ended up stabbing the EMS guy in the heart, killed him. Officer Ming went down in that domestic situation. How are you teaching our law enforcement to take care of themselves?
Situational awareness. It always comes back to that. Prepare for the worst, prepare for the unexpected. It can go from 0 to 10 just like that.
We had Brad Lemon on from the FOP. Do you know Brad?
I don't.
Yeah, Brad's a good guy, president of the FOP in Kansas City. And his message, just so we can continue to give the message out there, build a jail, Kansas City.
Right.
He talked about the fact that they're trying to recruit new officers to come in. I mean, that's got to be a tough ask in this environment to get new folks to come and be law enforcement.
No, it's across the board too. It doesn't matter where you're at. I got several friends with KCPD. They're down hundreds of officers. I mean, it's unbelievable the scenario that we're in today, because it all starts with the judicial system. We have to make the punishment fit the crime. Until that happens, nothing's going to change.
Couldn't have said that any better.
Opinion.
No, your opinion is absolutely 100% correct. That's why we love having you on here. We love having CLAYCOMO Shooters as part of Dale Carter's America. Again, they're on 69 Highway between I-35 and 435. Full service firearms dealer. You guys buy guns too, right?
Buy, sell, trade. Yep.
Now, what separates you from the big box stores out there?
Well, I was hoping you were going to ask me. I had a customer. This is it in a nutshell. I had a customer come in a couple, 3 weeks ago, and he's been to some of the other box stores that have ranges. And his analogy was, we are the Rocky Balboa gym of gun shops and ranges. Down, dirty, gritty, edgy.
Yeah.
Are you? We don't have a cappuccino machine. We're straight up.
Are you Mickey? Are you the Burgess Meredith character?
Yeah, I'll be Mickey. Mickey was cool.
Well, the bottom line is protect yourself, right? Exercise your Second Amendment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is definitely a right that is enshrined in the Constitution, and you are the last line of defense for your family. Take that seriously, and get with our friends at CLAYCOMO Shooters, 816-452-4867. We definitely appreciate you being part of Dale Carter's America. Kurt and I need to get back up there to the range and see if I can best him again like I did last time.
You did. You whooped him.
Hey, Herb, thanks for spending the time with us, and we appreciate you being part of the podcast.
Thanks, Dale. Tell Kurt hello.
Yep. So with Herb's help and CLAYCOMO Shooters, you've protected your family should it come to that with a firearm and the proper training. That's important. What protects your home and your family as well is a roof, and we're about to go into winter. You're already starting to feel fall here in the Kansas City area. Is your roof 15 years or older? you need to get my friends from Roofed by Royal Roofing and Solar up on that roof. Insurance companies are charging higher premiums on older roofs, and homeowners are getting their insurance dropped because of the age of the roof. Then you're forced to pay really high premiums. All right? And you got to put on a new roof. Sometimes it's better to get the new roof. The monthly payment on a new roof could be offset by the discount you're going to get from your insurance company by having a new impact-resistant roof. And Austin Watterson and his team are ready to walk you through all those steps. And I know there's a million roofing companies out there. You got to find somebody you trust. And if you trust me, you're going to trust Austin, because Austin's a great guy. I've known him for a very long time. Roofedbyroyal.com. Did the roof on my house. He's ready to do your roof inspection as well. And he's not going to be this guy that's going to tell you, hey, we'll just wait till the next hailstorm, and then your insurance company will pay for it. That scam's been exposed I don't know how many times. Get with somebody that I trust, that you will trust. Austin Watterson and roofedbyroyal.com at 816-540-7057. You trust me on a lot of things. You trust me on food. When we do the live events for the podcast, you know where we do them. Fun House Pizza, 2 locations, 50 Highway in Lee Summit, 7 Highway in Blue Springs. Something tells me we're going to do one in Blue Springs coming up in the not too distant future. He's got great pizza. It's a fantastic environment, fun environment too for the kids. Maybe you've already done your football meeting. You got another meeting coming up. Be a great place to do the meeting. Got a birthday party for the kiddos. It's a fantastic place for a birthday party too. And they have incredible pizza, stacked high with toppings, cold beverages too. And Jim Dingman will put that teenager you have to work. Get their first job at Funhouse Pizza. 50 Highway, Lee Summit, 7 Highway, Blue Springs. And when you go have pizza at Funhouse, make sure you tell Jim Dingman, first of all, pull your pants up. He's a stickler on that. But make sure you tell him you heard about him here on our podcast. Lightning round on the political stuff. Do you remember when Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, went after Trump? That's what she ran on. Remember that?
Yeah.
She was going to get Trump. She actually had herself filmed in front of Trump Tower saying, I can't wait to get my hands on that building. Well, an appeals court threw out the nearly $500 million judgment, and they used the 8th Amendment to do it. That basically, it's over sentencing. So they threw out that thing. Now look for Trump to go after her for malicious prosecution. The funny part to me is Letitia, the one down in Atlanta, the DC thing and all that, man, they thought they had him. It's like, we're just going to tag him with 39 felons, and then we'll call him a felon, and nobody will vote for him. He got more votes because of it.
Yeah, his entire political career has been pretty astounding. I mean, he's just been dodging figurative and literal bullets the entire time. It's pretty crazy to see.
He's going to get the last laugh on these people because, again, their mindset is they wake up every morning and they go, what's Trump for? And he's giving them the shotgun effect, right? He's got things going on all day long. It's like the news cycle used to be with Biden. It would be like once a week he might say something and then you could talk about it, other than what flavor ice cream he liked. Trump comes out with like 15 things a day. They don't know which one to go after first, but they know they got to be against all of them. So if you want to know where the Democrats are on anything, watch what Trump says and then go opposite, because that's what they're doing.
Yep.
And I think he's going to get the last laugh on all these people. California, trying to get around Trump lifting the federal mandate that was scheduled to ban all gas-powered vehicles sold by 2035. Think about how close we got to that. This is 2025. They wanted to completely gut the auto industry and start over with something that is a joke if you drill down to the details. Oh, yeah, you're going to get an electric car. You're going to save the environment. Gee, where am I going to plug in my electric car? Well, you plug it in at home. You just plug it into the electricity. So I'm going to need more electricity. How am I getting electricity? Well, in Missouri, they're burning coal. So you're going to burn more coal so you can drive an electric car. It falls apart when you get into the details. So the party that calls Trump a dictator on a regular basis still wants to dictate what you drive. And California is trying to get around all that. So keep your eye on them. DNC summer camp is in full swing. Have you seen this? They're meeting in Minneapolis, by the way.
Is this a real thing?
It is a real thing. Tim Walz is leading the thing.
Great.
This is in the city where he signed a bill for trans rights, which is the root of a lot of this. Mm-hmm. You go to these shootings lately. I saw a list the other day. Trans. I mean, at some point, you got to see a pattern there, right? Can we not get in front of this?
There's a mental illness and spiritual.
There is
a spiritual sickness involved across the board.
Yeah. Well, Tim Walz has probably lit the fuse on some of this stuff. I mean, I hate to put it right on him, but we do have this video.
Think of how easy it would be to be a damn Republican. Oh, what should I wear today? This stupid freaking red hat. What should I say today? I don't know. Just make sure it's cruel. Who do we listen to? That guy. Oh, the felon in the White House? Yeah, listen to him and that will be fine. Now he's talking about burning flags. He's going to have flag burning or whatever. Because he knows there's a hell of a lot of flags with his picture on it that are going to get burned. Think of how
what does that even mean? A lot of flags with his picture on it.
What is he talking about?
He's just ranting and raving. And then, this trans person, you as you mentioned, there were messages written on things, anti-Trump, get after Trump. I mean, they are lighting the fuse on all this stuff. Yeah. Now, I have my own thoughts on flag burning. I don't know where you are on flag burning. I don't like it. I don't want to see it. But the Supreme Court has said it's protected by the First Amendment. And I go back to, as cheesy as this might sound, Michael Douglas in The American President, where he makes the speech about how, the test of the First Amendment is not speech that you agree with. It's protecting and dying for speech that you don't agree with. Now, the first guy who got arrested under Trump's executive order, he got arrested because he set the thing on fire in a park, which is illegal. You can't set a bonfire in the park that's right across from the White House. So I have been consistent on that. You're going to burn the flag? I don't like it, but it's protected by the First Amendment. Democrats are the flip-floppers here. And again, we have the receipts to prove it. Two prominent Democrats. One ran for president, one was president. Let's start with Hillary on flag burning.
I hope, Mr. President, that we can pass a law that criminalizes flag burning and desecration. I hope.
It was a short clip.
Very short clip.
Very short clip. Hey, brevity is the soul of wit. Yep. And then Joey B back when he had more hair.
Joey B with more hair.
It doesn't matter why you burn or mutilate or trample on the flag. You should not do it. What holds us together as a nation, Mr. President, is not a common language, although I think that is necessary. It is the national symbol. The reason it is worth preserving is because it unifies this diverse nation. The flag's unique place in our national life means that we should preserve it against all manner of destruction. A statute making it unlawful to burn, mutilate, or trample upon any flag of the United States, period. It doesn't matter who burns or mutilates or tramples the flag, and it doesn't matter why. Under my proposal, it will be unlawful to do the flag harm, no ifs, ands, or buts. Tell everyone they can't burn the flag.
Yeah, until Trump said it. And now, again, they woke up that morning and they said, okay, what's Trump said today? He says he's going to sign an executive order on burning the flag. Okay, well, we're for burning the flag. Burn the damn thing.
That's what happened. I kind of missed the boat on that. So Trump signed an executive order making it illegal to burn the flag? Okay.
Right, which you really can't do. I'm not a fan of executive orders. I want things to go through Congress and be codified, but this is something that the Supreme Court has already spoken on. Mm-hmm. So it's settled law. But I just wanted to get the hypocrisy going here, that Hillary, we can't burn the flag. Joe, you just saw him there. And something else that Joe said in that clip, which jumped out at me, is he said we have to have a common language. Did you pick up on that?
I missed it. No.
We have to have a common language, which we agree on. Yeah. If you're going to come to this country and become a naturalized citizen, legal immigration is what this country is built on, but it's also built on what America is all about. And America, for better or worse, is the Americanized version of the English language. And trust me, what we speak here is not really English. Go to England. I swear to God, I was in a cab and I'm like, I couldn't understand a damn word the guy was saying. I'm like, could you speak English? Yeah. He's like, we're in England.
Oi, bruv. Jolly old day, innit?
Okay, so you've heard about the immigrant truck driver who killed 3 people in Florida, right?
Yes.
Did you know that when they arrested him, he could not read the signs?
Yeah.
He doesn't understand English. So we're giving CDLs in countries like, or in states like California, we're giving them to immigrants who can't read the language.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but I was listening to a report a couple days ago where the allegation was that there's kind of these underground markets or trading of these licenses. I guess it's like a sticker or a plate or something that has to go on the truck in order for it to be legal. And so they're bringing in their family members from India or wherever. And then they just acquire these stickers and they're like, all right, here you go. Here's the sticker. You're all set. Get out there and start driving. And then your companies like Amazon and FedEx and UPS are just wanting to cut corners as much as possible. So they're saving money by hiring these people.
Yeah.
And, not only can they not read English, but they don't understand the rules of the road. They don't have just compassion for other drivers. They're like, oh, I need to make a U-turn. Okay. And then they just make a U-turn in the middle of the highway. A car runs into it and 3 people die. Yeah. And if you watch that video too, after the cops arrive, the guy's just standing there. He's not, and it's a small clip, so maybe it's out of context or whatever for the sake of transparency, but he's just standing there and not he's not being remorseful. He's not trying to help. And it's like, these are the people that we're bringing into our country.
Yeah. Well, Sean Duffy's trying to fix that. I just know that when I go to get my driver's license renewed, first of all, quick story here. I have never taken a driving test. Have you taken one?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was in high school, we had driver's ed. Did you have driver's ed at your high school?
We had driver's ed, but I didn't do it. The version that I did was like an at-home thing where you had to fill out your parents had to sign on that you drove for a certain amount of hours.
I mean, when my kids went to Blue Springs, they didn't have driver's ed in the school. When I was in high school back in ancient times.
Oh, we didn't have it at my school. It was through the DMV or whatever.
Well, this was in high school. Back in the day, all the coaches taught driver's ed. That was their deal. And, most of the high schools in the city I grew up in had a driving range on their campus somewhere. Mine, inner city high school, we didn't have that.
Not the golf kind?
So we drove on the roads, right? There were 3 of us and a teacher in the car. And the dirty little secret was if you were an athlete, and I was barely a football player, right, you got what was called a waiver. And so you didn't have to take the driving test. And I was not a very good driver. I definitely didn't learn how to parallel park. And I remember one time we were driving in downtown Evansville, and we were coming up on an intersection. And the way the cars worked, the instructor coach, he was in the passenger seat, and he had a brake. Right. And so we came up to this intersection where the lights are, I shouldn't really tell this story because we're going to talk about Bob Watson. He might cancel my insurance, but it was a long time ago. I think the statute of limitations has passed. Yeah. So it was like flashing red lights at the intersection. And Coach Mondriaga goes, what does flashing red lights indicate to you, Carter? And I said, yield. And he said, wrong answer. But I got a waiver. So I've never taken a driving test. But whenever I renew my driver's license, they make you put your eyes in the thing and they give you some signs. And you've got to figure out what they are. And I just have a regular driver's license. I don't have a CDL.
Right.
This guy got a CDL.
Yeah.
And
you're not driving a 15-ton death machine.
No.
You're driving an SUV.
A small SUV on top of that. I've got a friend who is in the business that sends stuff out on trucks, right? I don't want to get too far. I don't want to give this guy away. But he told me that now they have an alert on the name Singh because this guy's last name was Singh. And he said in India, Singh is like Smith.
Yeah. Patel.
Yeah. So they've got an alert on this and they're trying to get ahead of it.
And people will say that's racist. That's the thing. It's like, we're just recognizing patterns here, So
trying to figure it out. Back to the shooting in Minnesota. We can either run to the microphones and say, gosh, if we just had one more gun law, if we just made it a little bit tougher to get a gun, and then we pat ourselves on the back and the criminals laugh their ass off. Or we get to a pattern and maybe there's some counseling to get ahead of all this stuff.
Yep.
We do have a mental health crisis in this country, and I think we're falling way behind.
Yeah, and we have a spiritual crisis in this country. People are losing God. They don't have God. They reject God. And then they target innocent children at a Christian school, So there's obviously something to that, as well as the demonic possession that's involved. And even the thing with the flag burning, I could kind of see either side of it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's a symbol, right? It's a symbol of patriotism for patriotism's sake. Is that really what we're after? Is it really like, oh, I'm an American, you can't step on the flag, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't really feel that way. So I don't, do you want to burn the flag? Like, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
It's just kind of nuanced, and I don't think it's really that simple.
The beauty of our country and what separates us from places like North Korea and Russia is that, if you want, you can go on a corner somewhere, a street corner, and say, Donald Trump is the worst president in the history of this country.
He's worse than Hitler.
He's worse than Hitler. And your speech is protected.
You're not a nice person.
By people who don't agree with you. Yeah. That is the beauty of the United States of America, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. So Medicare Simplified KC, of course, brings you part of this podcast, and we thank them. Kirk Doris, good guy. Lori Hocker is with him as well. Lori reached out to me, and I'll tell you why in a minute, but let's tell you about this first. The Medicare annual enrollment is rapidly approaching October 15th through December 7th. If you're already on Medicare, you're about to get on Medicare, you have decisions that need to be made, and a lot of those decisions have been changed because of the big, beautiful bill that is now a law. And Kirk Doris has spent a lot of time getting into the weeds on this. In fact, somewhere around October 15th, I want to have him on as a guest just to kind of take us through the traps so that those who are already on Medicare will understand what they need to do, and those who are approaching it will get even more answers. But this is a guy who has helped thousands of people who were where you are right now, either on Medicare or about to be on Medicare with decisions to make. Let Kirk guide you. He's a fantastic guy. 816-701-6661. His office is at 3600 South Nolan Road in Independence. Serves the entire metro area. And if for whatever reason you can't get to him, he will come to you. 30 years of combined Medicare experience, helping thousands navigate the convoluted waters of Medicare. Kirk Doris, Medicare Simplified, KC.com, 816-701-6661. And then Bob Watson, the guy who probably doesn't want to know that I probably should not have gotten a waiver and should have had to take a driving test. But I was 16. I'm going to be 62 next month. That ship has sailed.
Yep.
Don't you think? Yeah.
I don't know. I think we should retroactively prosecute.
816-229-7878. Bundle your home and car insurance and save. State Farm, like a good neighbor, they're always going to be there, and with a staff that will take care of you when the rubber hits the road. When you've got something where you need to use your insurance, that's when the true test of whether what you have is worth it or not. And I've been Bob Watson's client for over 30 years. He's been helping folks in the Kansas City Metro for 51 years.
I'd say congratulations.
Licensed in both Missouri and Kansas. Put him to work for you. 816-229-7878. So, the decision is in. It's already out there on social media and all that. Monday night at the Jackson County Republican meeting in Lee Summit, I announced that I will be a candidate for District 5 on the Jackson County Legislature in 2026. I've gotten a lot of people reaching out to support. I mentioned Lori Hocker from Medicare Simplified KC. She's like, I think I live in your district and I want to help. And I'm getting that from a lot of people. I want to help. Jeannie Lauer, who's been a guest on this podcast, is a dear friend of mine. She is the incumbent, but a lot of angry Republicans in Jackson County about her voting record, especially as it relates to Frank White. Frank White is going to be on a recall ballot on September 30th. There's a lot of anger in Jackson County. And the way I put it in the speech I made Monday night, you get to a point in your life where it's fight or flight, right? And I think I started with flight. I know I started with flight because Jennifer and I talked about it and said, why don't we sell the house? We can move to Cass County, where she's from anyway, and we'll be out of this mess. This will be somebody else's mess. And then we discounted that because her son, Little Lord Fauntleroy, is a junior at Blue Springs, and we want him to be able to finish, where he started. The next thing was, What if we took the eastern suburbs and we split off from the urban core? It's been done before. It was done in St. Louis in 1876. We could do that. And we even started the whole Truman County thing. And I in my speech Monday night, I said, the funny thing to me was people were coming back to me saying, hey, have you heard about this Truman County thing? And I'm like, yeah, I think we started it. Because there's been other talk about separating, but I think we're the only ones that put Truman's name on it. Pretty sure that's true. So that was the other flight. The fight is maybe what we should try and do is fix the problem from the inside. Work with other people, like-minded people. Get the tax assessment thing under control. Get taxes under control. I mean, if you have paid your 30-year mortgage and you are retired, why are you renting your home from Jackson County, Missouri? Because that's what property taxes are. You're renting your home. You'll never be out from under it. In my case, if I had to continue paying property taxes after my mortgage is done, we're probably looking at $600-700 a month just to rent. I mean, back when I was a kid, you could get a really nice apartment for that. and that would be my house that I own. So there's that. There's the public safety issue. We talk about it nonstop, about the death and destruction that's happening under the watch of this current administration. So those are the reasons that I'm going to run and try and make a difference in District 5 of the Jackson County Legislature. And I'll tell you what, if I can't do it and the sentiment is still there, I'll try from the inside to get us split off from Jackson County. And I think there's still a lot of sentiment for that. So we'll see. One thing I will not do on my campaign, Kurt, is I will not be doing any bench pressing. Because there are certain things I can do, certain things I can't do, and I'm not going to do what I can't do. And Mamdani, who's running for mayor of New York, probably should not bench press in public.
Move up in the polls! This is how you move up in the polls! Yeah! This is how you move up in the polls! Yeah!
Now, if you're watching, this is why you want the video. Because he's going to put his hands on the bar. This is 130 pounds of bench press. And he's got a spotter right above him.
Look at all these people.
Yeah, huge crowd. So the spotter is just there to guide him.
Yeah! Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go! Yeah!
But I think the spotter's carrying it.
Let me get three! Let me get three! Let me get three!
Yeah, he's done. He's done. And look at those arms, too. I mean, he's not lifting 130 pounds.
Mr. Tough Guy.
Yeah. And then Eric Adams did it, too. Did you see Eric Adams did it?
No.
And Adams is ripped, right?
Yeah.
Former police captain and all that. And he's just like pumping the thing. Boom, boom, boom. So, Mamdani, not a good look.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's it. And there'll be more updates. There'll be events that we're going to do because podcasting is a little different than broadcasting. We're going to use the podcast to try and get the message out there. So there will be events. It will be intertwined here. And I know that running is also going to increase interest in this podcast. So we're going to grow this thing together. And hopefully we're going to win. The primary, if there is one, I hope there is not, because I hope I've convinced enough Republicans that I'm the guy who can be that conservative voice for Eastern Jackson County, would be in August, and then a general election will be next November. So there's a long way to go in all this. It's a marathon, not a sprint, but I'm going to appreciate you helping on this campaign, all of you. And I'm looking at Kurt as I say that. And together we can get it done. Meanwhile, until next week, we've got a lot more to talk about. This is Dale Carter's America.
The views expressed on Dale Carter's America are Dale's and Kurt Wheeler's. They do not necessarily reflect the views of KFKF or Steel City Media. Comments can be sent to dalecartersamerica@gmail.com. Check back for weekly episodes. Subscribe, spread the word, and give us a 5-star review. Thanks for being a part of Dale Carter's America.